Today, we explored Desmos. So as you can see, I'm searching desmos.com, and it's our graphing calculator. We practiced graphing and explored Desmos from the big C problem from yesterday. In order to enter a table, I'm going to click Add, and I want to add a table. And if you remember from yesterday, we were looking at that big C and the number of tiles in each figure. So figure 0, which is going to be my X, had 3 tiles. And if you look over here, it plots a point for us. And then we also discovered that it was growing by 6. So figure 1 then had 9 tiles in it. And what happens, it looks like here, I can't see that point. So I can move this around by just holding and grabbing. I also can change, this is like setting up graph paper. If you go into, well, first off, you can zoom in and you can zoom out. But if I kind of want to change this, the proportion of the graph paper, I like to go into this little wrench, and it does all sorts of things. I can get rid of the grid altogether. I can get rid of the axes numbered, the scale on there, or the minor ones. So you can do whatever you want with that. But when I make a little graph, I like to label the axes. So in this big C, the X stands for the figure number. Gotta spell it right. So you should be seeing it coming along the x-axis right here. And then my y-axis is the number of tiles. And that shows up along your y-axis. Now I want to set my graph paper. I don't really need to have any negative x values because there isn't any negative figure numbers, but I like to see a little bit of that negative x-axis. So I'm just going to go from -5. And I don't need probably more than 20 figures, so I'm going to go up to 20. And notice how that kind of sets that different tone on the x-axis. I can also then decide what I want it to go up by. I could do a step of 1, and then I see by 1s. Or if I wanted to go up by 2s, it could go up by 2s. I like to go up by 1s as often as I can. And the same with the y-axis. I want to see a little bit of the negative, so that's fine. But the y, it's growing pretty fast, so I want it to at least go to 50. And notice how that changed the structure of my graph paper. You can do the same thing with the step as well. Now, the thing about this is, though, is once I move it around, like I got to move it there and I go back in, it does change those, and that's okay. It just, it kind of sets the proportion of that graph paper. So I'll still be able to see the points that I want to see. So it was growing by 6. So figure number 2 had 15. And if you notice, I can tell that I'm doing it right because they're going in a line. They're growing by the same amount each time. Figure 3 had 21. And then we figured out that figure 4, because it's growing by 6, had 27. And figure 5 had 33. And I know that I did that right because they're all in a row. If I wanted to know figure 6, if I'm really not sure, actually, I'm going to wait for that. You can change the dots if you want by clicking and holding, and you can change the color of them. You can change if you want X's or open circles. I like orange, so I'm going to keep them orange. You could also make a line if you wanted to, but we're going to make a line by writing an equation. Whoops. So notice I just wanted to show you that you can go backwards and get that back. All right, so we're working on all the different representations in the connection. Right now, this was the big C. We made a table from the pattern, then we just made a graph, but now we also want to write an equation. And yesterday, so I wanted to add the equation, and I just click underneath. Yesterday, we did write the equation. It was y equals, all our equations are going to start with y equals, and it was growing by 6 every time, so that means multiply by 6. And then notice how my line's coming in. It's not quite where it needs to be, but I need to add 3, and there's the line. If the equation is wrong, this is what it would look like. Notice it doesn't go through the points. So just a little brief preview of Desmos.